Hello everyone and welcome to another science video of the Massachusetts Regional Library. My name is Miss Stephanie and I'm one of the children's librarians here. And in this month's science video, we are going to grow some crystals. And crystals are a type of a formation made of minerals. And minerals and rocks, like the people who study them, are called geologists. And they study them, how they form, they use it to track how the earth forms, they look at fossils. And crystals are just a very small part of that process. And we can grow our own out of many different things. And crystals are all around us, and snowflakes and quartz. And we're going to use baking soda today to make our own crystals. Now this project's going to take a little longer because it takes a while for the crystals to grow. Like sometimes it takes like thousands of years for them to grow, but fortunately we don't have to wait that long. We are just going to take about a week, a little over a week for this experiment. But let me tell you what you need to do to get started. First, the baking soda, of course. You'll need some yarn to cut some yarn. You'll need scissors for that. You'll need a couple of paper plates, or a tray will work too. We are going to be using hot water in this, so to be safe, we're going to be using some oven mitts and pot holders. We'll need some water, a spoon to stir. I like to use jars because it's clear and you can see the crystals can grow in the jars as well. And you can just look around your house. Like I used some old spaghetti sauce jars and two old jelly jars for mine. And you'll need a measuring cup of 1/4. You will need some styrofoam cups, which it's important for a reason I'll tell you in a bit. And if you want to make them colorful and fun, you can use food coloring, but even if you don't, the crystals still turn out great as well. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so for this experiment, we're going to need some hot water, and I just wanted to touch base with you guys a little bit because this can be a little dangerous because the hot water could burn you, and I just wanted to show you guys some safe ways to handle water. First of all, always have an adult around with you to help you, and if you feel uncomfortable in any way, have your adult do this instead. But always have your adult with you. There's many ways to get hot water. If your adult has a Keurig machine, you can just put it into I'm going to use styrofoam cups for this because they are usually not too hot to pick them up when you touch, and we don't want. Because if you use a glass or plastic or metal, when your hand touches the cup with the hot water in it, it's going to burn, and that's really going to hurt. So I'm doing that to be safe. You can also have your adult boil some water for you on the stove, or you can use the microwave with an adult nearby, and that's the one I'm going to use today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill these cups with water, and I'm going to heat them in the microwave. And it's important to check. You don't want to heat it up too much, so what I'm doing is I'm going to heat it up at 30 seconds at a time. And so you won't be able to see in the microwave that well, but I'll just tell you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put them in here. And then we'll just do 30 seconds. Alright, and like I said, I did it in a styrofoam cup, but also because I want to be really safe, I'm going to use pot holders and oven mitts to take these cups of hot water out of the microwave, so that way it doesn't burn my hands. And also, we want the water to be hot enough. If you see steam rising up off the surface of the water, that means that it's hot enough for our experiment. So we just got a few seconds left. 5, 3, 2, 1. Okay. I don't see any steam, so we're going to do it for 30 more seconds. Going. And I just want to let you guys know that never put anything metal in the microwave because that could cause a fire, and which would be a really, really bad thing. But it is okay to put the styrofoam cups in there for a little bit. It's also okay, like if there's a container that says microwave safe, then that is also okay to put in there as well. But always have an adult with you while you do this because they use the microwave a lot and they will know how to best use it, because each microwave is different. So let's see how it is now. Oh good, I do see steam coming off both those. So I'm going to put my oven mitt and pot holder on. I'm going to carefully take both of them out and set them on the counter. And so now that we have our hot water, let's continue with our experiment. All right, so now that we have boiled the hot water, we're going to start with, this is a pretty straightforward process. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put some baking soda in each of the jars. I'm going to use 1/4 cup. For the larger jars, I'm going to use 1/2 cup. And so I measured out 1/4 cup. We'll put 1/4 cup in here. And then we'll put 1/4 cup of baking soda in this one. All right, so we put that aside. Now then, I added food coloring because I thought it would make the crystals look neater. So I'm going to put 3 drops in each. So put that aside. Now, I cut the yarn, and what I did was, I didn't mention this in the beginning, my apologies, but I put some paper clips in here to make it stay at the bottom so the string wouldn't float up. But before we put these in there, we're going to put the hot water in. So I've tested my side. It's not too hot. The side's not too hot, but we're going to be careful and slowly pour the hot water in. You can see that it is fuzzing a little bit, but that'll settle down quickly. And what we're doing with this, when we put the hot water with the baking soda, is we're creating a saturated solution. And saturated means to fill up. And that means that we are filling up the water with all this baking soda. And what's going to happen is the baking soda is going to be absorbed. The baking soda water mixture or solution is going to be absorbed by the yarn. And it's going to start very slowly form the crystals. And so I'm going to just leave that. I stirred it really well so the baking soda could dissolve into the water so you don't see it. You may still see some at the bottom, and that's okay. Because when I did this experiment before, it still formed the crystals. So let me carefully test the side of this one. That one's not hot, but the water's still nice and hot. So we'll put it in here slowly. All right. And then we're going to stir this one really well too, because we want all the baking soda to dissolve or go into the water so we can create another saturated solution. So it looks like it's dissolved really well here. I'm going to give the other jar 1 or 2 more stirs, well 3 more stirs. And then once it settles down, we're going to go ahead and put the yarn and the paper clips in. And like I said, the water and the baking soda mixture is going to get absorbed by the yarn, and it's going to form some beautiful crystals. And the paper clips are to make sure that it sinks to the bottom. So, all right, so all we got to do is wait. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take pictures every day of this and the other solution in the larger jars, and we can see how the crystals gradually form. They're not going to form instantly, but they'll form gradually, and they're going to be well worth the wait. So let's get started. Alright guys, so it's been many days, and let's see what happens to our crystals. As you can see from the pictures I showed you guys, it did take a while, but crystals grow from both examples that I used, from the bigger jars and the smaller jars. So let's go to the smaller jars first. And as we can see, the crystals have formed. They're kind of, yeah, they've been forming pretty good around the edge of the jar and on the string. And you can see that they've gone up too. And they're a little spread further apart than the ones from the larger one. As you can see that they're all kind of bunched up together, which is interesting. Maybe because there was more baking soda in this batch, that's why. And you may not be able to see it, but inside there is crystals that formed around the paper clip as well. So you guys can try this experiment on your own, and I hope that you guys get crystals as well, as big and as beautiful as these ones. All right, well, I hope you really enjoyed that experiment with growing crystals, and I just have a few books today that just touch on geology or the study of rocks in different ways. And the first one is a nice, good overview, just like the basics of geology. It's called I'm Trying to Love Rocks, and it's just talking about how, like, well, people think, like, rocks may be boring or uninteresting. There's a lot of really interesting things about them, and it talks about volcanoes and under the surface about all the rocks, how we can use rocks to track time. And what I like about it, it was just like a nice overview. It wasn't like too much. If you just want to know a little bit about it, this is a great book for you. And it has some fun pictures and some fun facts. And this is the one that I use for most of the information on this experiment. This is called Science Comics, Rocks and Minerals. It's a great series. There's so many different ones in them that I'm going to have to use for future science videos. And this one just focuses on rocks and minerals, and it's a study of a geologist. And she talks about different things, like different types of rocks, how they form, like how crystals form, which is what some things I learned in here. And I also, the part I'll show you is, because the crystals that I showed you kind of look like stalactites or stalagmites in caves. And the geologist in the story, she did a really good description about how they form, which is what I used in the slide for the information about them. And so it's a really good read. It's a fun story, just a lot of great information about geology. And finally, this is an eyewitness book, Crystal and Gems. And if you just wanted to see some real life pictures of crystals, this is great. This has a lot of great information as well that I used. But what I like about this book, you can kind of just pick and choose what you're interested in. Personally, I just liked going through and looking at all the different crystals and rocks. Here we got some topaz here. And in the back, it just talks about how people have used crystals in history and now. And it just has a lot of great pictures. And my favorite is, like, it shows like how you can identify different gemstones, with my favorites being the amethyst and the topaz. So all three of these are great reads if you wanted to know more about rocks and crystals. So once again, thank you for joining me for this science video. I look forward to sharing more experiments with you soon. Have a good day. Bye.